I think one of the most interesting things about this landscape that we live on is water. Really, water drives the distribution of plants and animals. And the changes in water are related to changes in elevation, and they're very subtle. So in just a matter of inches, you can get one plant appear and one plant disappear, and the animals that are associated with those plants appear and disappear. Rain hits this landscape and it flows downhill. And when the fresh water from inland hits the salt water from the ocean, we have this really unique habitat that's called an estuary, the place where the fresh water and the salt water meets. So part of the challenges that we find on this landscape is when we change the flow of fresh water inland, it changes how much and when that fresh water gets downstream, and it changes the chemistry and then ultimately the ecosystems of those estuaries. So if you understand that the distribution of plants and animals across this landscape is really responding to water, and that humans have had this legacy of manipulating where and when the water goes on this landscape, one group of indicator species we should be looking at are the ones that are particularly dependent on water. An indicator species on this landscape, we think, one of them are frogs. But all frogs spend part of their time intimately connected to water on the landscape. So where the water is, how much water there is, how clean the water is, immediately impacts frog species. And so we've been looking through this Southwest Florida Frog Watch program how frog populations are changing through time as one sentinel or indicator as to whether or not we're managing the landscape in a way that protects biological diversity. So if the species on this landscape are the result of thousands of years of evolution, then there's a reason for them to be here. And we might not always understand what that reason is, but we have a sense that we should honor that presence by maintaining that diversity of life. Now that's an ecological responsibility. You know, a more selfish one is how sad it would be to have these things disappear. To have a frog that I used to see and hear and have my grandchildren not be able to see and hear it, or a wildflower, or the Florida panther. Those are all part of the natural legacy of this landscape, and I think we should preserve them.
Visit the Charlotte Harbor National Estuary Program website